But now we really have to take it to the next level. We have to make this kit sound like it was recorded in a big pro studio and not in a living room. But don't worry, I've got a really great trick for you, and it's not that hard. So what I have here is a mult or an aux called drum squash. Now sometimes I call this faux space. I call it a number of things, but really the idea of this next technique is to create a sense of big studio space to our drums. And here's what I did. So I created this aux, and I sent to it the overheads, and I sent our mono room mic. Okay, so I'm just going to solo these guys for now. So our overheads, our room mic, and then I'm going to solo this new aux. And I'm going to bypass the processing and we'll discuss it. Now, rule number 1. When I do this trick, I always listen to what I'm doing in context with the overheads and the room mic. You're never going to see me, do a pre-send and solo just the aux. I want to hear how this is going to blend into these guys. So anyway, right now, it's just a straight up send. I'm sending, the overheads to the room. And here's what it's doing. It's doing nothing. It's basically amplifying these two tracks. Or these 3 tracks. So anyway, here's what we're going to do now. We're going to start off with a virtual mix rack on this drum squash or faux space or whatever you want to call it. And we're doing 2 things first. We're EQing it. So I'm adding some FGN EQ and some custom series EQ. Again, the FGN EQ, the point here is we want something aggressive and colorful. I'm adding some top end. I'm adding some upper mid. I'm taking away a little low mid at around 485. And I'm cranking a bunch of 80 cycles here. And then we're using our little fancy finisher EQ, the custom series. For this one, I'm adding some 2K. Okay, it's a different sounding EQ than this one, and it's very complementary. It's going to be a little more pretty sounding than the FGN. This is going to be more aggressive. This is going to be a little more fancy. Okay, this is our country club EQ. And then, again, even though I boosted a bunch of big low end here, this is a big low end shelf, I'm boosting some 60 with the custom series. Okay, I'm not being shy about boosting low end, and let's just see what that does. I'm going to bring the fader up here. So right now, this mult is only adding EQ. But we're bringing that kick out in a nice way, so let's continue on. Now the magic happens. We've got the new Verb Suite Classics reverb. We have it on the FGBM7 Bracosti. We have it on the medium room. All I'm doing is adding a little bit of chorus to give it a little bit of excitement and a little bit of width and a tiny bit of the EQ here. And on the dry wet, it's got about 31% wet. So we're going to take this, room mic and overheads. We've added some EQ, and now we're going to blend it with some reverb. We also, by the way, have the attack up to 7.84. Okay, so let's take a listen to what this is doing now. And without it. You catching what I'm throwing out here? You digging that? That's starting to give us some space. That's what we need. We need that depth. Okay, but we're not done, because now that we've created this great space using our Verb Suite Classics, now we're going to treat it like I would a normal room mic, and we're going to compress it. And there's no better compressor for drum room mics, in my not so biased opinion, than the FG Gray. I love the FG Gray on room mics. It just does so many wonderful things. I'll give you the settings here. We're at 6:1. We are at the release fastest, so we want this thing to be aggressive. And the attack is at 3, but very, very important is that the high pass filter is all the way up, okay, at 150. So it's not going to react to the lows. We just boosted all the lows, remember, from this virtual mix rack here. And now we're going to compress it. We're going to let all those lows in and wait to hear how big this sounds now. Check this out. I'll bring it in. Not compressing a lot. It doesn't need much, but that compression really starts to, add some attitude. So first, before I show you what the heck we're doing with this E-square de-esser on this track, let's just take a listen to that in context to see what it is doing, and then I'll tell you why I added this de-esser. So here is our kicks and our snare, and that is going to be it. Here we go. and without. Wow. That thing's adding some serious space. Loving that. Okay, so now what the heck is with this de-esser? Now check it out. When we go to the chorus, listen what happens. I'm going to put this back up. Take a listen to what happens. Oh my god, we haven't even added the hi-hat track in, and listen to how abrasive that hi-hat is. Yuck. So check it out. This is one of my favorite plugins on the universe. In the universe. On and in the universe. Both. This is the E-Square de-esser, and it has not only the ability to de-ess, but it can de-hi-hat. Isn't that cool? So we have overheads, auto high compression, and basically this takes all that abrasive, brassy, cymbal stuff out of the overheads, but leaves all the good stuff. You ready for this? Let's do this. I'm going to go back to just soloing the overheads and our drum squash or faux drum thing here. And let's take a listen to what this does when I put it in. Whoa. All that stuff just went away. Listen to it. And it's still adding all that depth and space and bigness. It just took all that horrible hi-hat out of this. It was just way too much. Let me do another A-B for you. Seriously, like one of my favorite plugins. Love that. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we need to recalibrate. So I brought some of the other elements of the mix.